What's going on, my fellow Farmall brothers and sisters? Alright, so another edition on the Farmall 450 caster. Spin this around and kind of show you what else we got going on, so stay tuned. Alright, so I got a few things here, that I got started, got going. A few things, it wasn't really warrant putting it on camera, but I do have something to show you as far as some repair on those rims right there. I guess I probably should have filmed it, but I can show you just as easy and you guys get the idea. Let me figure out where I'll put these couple pieces at and I'll show you what I did. Alright, so these pieces right here, obviously, nothing more than a copper pipe and a piece of brass. I'll spin this around and show you what I did with these. Alright, so the one rim, the only area I had from the calcium was where it ate away at the metal, of course around the valve stem. Very common thing to do. Now, a lot of times to repair these, depending how bad it is, you'll have to cut this section out and put in a piece of metal, rebore the hole, whatever you gotta do. This one here was only enough where I was just eating away around in here. So the best way to do this, because if you try to weld this up and then this gets covered with weld about that far across there, to try to get a drill bit to go back down through here is almost impossible to get it straight. You'll end up worming out the hole up here and you'll just screw this all up. The easiest way to go ahead and weld this up is to fit yourself a piece of copper pipe in the size of the hole. And then, of course, I went ahead and I put a magnet on both sides to hold it nice and straight. And then on the bottom side, I can't do this with one hand. Turn this a little bit. On the bottom side, hang on, this ain't gonna work. Let's do this again. With that coming through the hole, keeps you perfect size. And then I take the piece of brass and I clamped it right over top where the hole was that was all eaten away by the rust. Like that, clamped her in place. And then I welded it from the top side. And welded all around and cleaned all this area up. With the weld, brought the weld down to about here. And once you're done welding, all you gotta do is pull out your piece of copper. And you already have your perfect hole. Because obviously the weld's not gonna stick to the pipe. See where it weld around it. Heat was kind of high, so it burned through a couple spots, but the weld's not going to stick. And then the reason I put the brass on the bottom side was so that way it didn't blow all the weld through, so I didn't have a ton of cleanup on the underside. So really all I had to do was take the grinder, clean across here, smooth it, so that way the tube sitting on there isn't in a rough spot. And then on the inside, all I had to do was just clean up a little bit around here. The rim looks good. The repair is perfect. After I got that all said and done, I used a step bit. One of these bits right here. Just for the people who's never used them before. I just used a step bit to go ahead and run back in, clean it up. It chamfers the edge, so that way it's nice and smooth for that tube to go back through. I chamfered it real easy on both sides, just enough not to make it sharp in the middle. That's it, done deal. Very easy rim repair. So if you guys got a repair around the valve stem and it's able to be welded without having to actually cut a big section out of plate steel, that's the easiest way to weld these up. This repair, honestly, took me probably about 20 minutes. Didn't take long, and that's from setting it up to welding it to grinding it to having it done and chamfering the hole. She was done. So very quick, very easy. That was really it for the rim. As you see, this side over here was fine, but the rims are actually ready to roll. Ready to roll. Anyway, they're good. They're ready for primer, but I do have to get all this stuff primed first. But what I am going to do is I'm going to cut into a video real fast that I went ahead and filmed last night, showing you the Cerakote process on the exhaust manifold. As you see, she came out real nice. And then I'm going to show you what I used. So obviously I used the Glacier Silver Air Cure. It's a 7700, the C7700, which is air. And this Cerakote right here is good for, I think it's like 14 or 1800 degrees. It can hold up very well. And as you see, the finish comes out much better than it does with the brush paint Eastwood. It actually comes out with a real nice, even coverage finish. You'll see all the brush marks, all the nasty stuff on there. And these hold up to the temperature very well. So let me go ahead and cut to that video right now and show you that process, and then I'll be back. Alright my friends, so what we're going to do now, we're just going to go ahead and paint this exhaust manifold for the 450. What we're going to use is the C7700 Glacier Silver. It's air cure. You want to strain it with a 100 mesh strainer, and you want to spray it at around 30 psi. I use the Iwata guns. Again, this is Cerakote. I decided to use this instead of like the Eastwood paint. The Eastwood paint works really good, but the fact that it goes on really thick and it's kind of, it's not bad. But personally, the C-Series Cerakote, this right here, I believe goes up to like 1800 degrees. So obviously more than adequate to handle the temperature of this exhaust manifold. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to spray this. Again, I use a 100 mesh strainer, and if it's a little hard sometimes getting that paint through there, you can take a stir and just kind of go around. And, you know, because what happens is these lids, if I can get this off with one hand, hang on. Okay, so what happens is when you put these back, you know, and you screw the lid on, a lot of times the paint will crust up around this upper edge right here, so you don't want to dump that straight into your gun. So you want to go ahead and make sure you strain this stuff. But sometimes, like I said, the Glacier Silver, the black, it's a little hard to go through the strainers. So once you dump it in, go ahead and let the strainer fill up, and then you can just kind of go around like this, and that'll actually knock the paint in there. And there's the silver inside there. So we're going to go ahead and set up, and let's get this thing sprayed. Alright, let's do it. Actually, first let me get my mask on. Hang on. Alright, got my mask. Yeah, anytime you spray Cerakote, make sure you put on your face mask. But I'm going to go ahead and take that lid off, clean it real fast, and then we're going to start spraying. Yeah, I know, that was fun, wasn't it? Here's the strainers that we use. You can actually get these through Cerakote. We have like 100, we have 325s, different ones. Fits in the water gun absolutely perfectly, but make sure you clean it after every use to keep those screens clean. Alright, let's go ahead and put the lid on and spray this. All right, my friends. I'm sure I was in the way a little bit there, but that's the best I can do trying to get in this paint booth. But as you see, that Glacier Silver has a real nice look to it. Now again, this is air cure, so I don't have to put this in the oven to cure it. Trying to remember, you can look it up and look the specs up online. I can't remember exactly all the specs on this. It takes, you know, obviously a couple days to cure. It'll be set in, I don't know, about a day. But it usually takes about 24 hours like normal paints. But I think a hard cure on this particular one, because it's a high heat paint, I think it's about 5 days to get a real good hard paint, you know, cure to it. But you can still mount it. But again, if you guys were wondering, usually on the back of my dials on here, you can see how they got the numbers on there. Alright, so this is the amount of paint you're putting out. This is your fan pattern. I always screw these both into 0. And then I'll turn this one out, maybe, okay, here. Okay, so that's usually where I start the paint at right there. And then that's actually at a straight stream. I'll crack it open just a hair. The reason I do that is that way it keeps these air bleeds right here blowing out, keeps from clogging up. And then as far as my fluid, when it's a heavy paint like this, as you see where the one is, right there, I'll crank this around. One full turn, and probably about a half. That's usually what I'll use on this particular paint for a spray pattern to get in all the cracks, crevices, get all these areas all through here. Like I said, and then you just, the 2-stage gun. So you want to hold the air, spray, hold the air, spray. And that way it keeps you from constantly squeezing the whole thing. So use it as a 2-stage gun like it's meant to be. Air, spray, air, spray. When you're done, you can let off. But anyway, you just feather it, get inside all the crevices, get all those areas done first, and then you go ahead and crack this open. Like, I'll turn this, and I'm going to make you guys sick, but I can only do what I can do with one hand. Once I'm ready to go ahead and go for a full fan, I'll spin this around one full turn from my fan pattern. Like that. That's what you want. Then when it's closed, see, that's what you want to get in the crevices. That's what you want to spray afterwards. If you go too much wider with these guns, well, Cerakote in general, if you go any wider with the fan pattern, you're going to risk dry spray as the fan is wider. So you don't really want to go much wider than that. And fluid wise, you know, usually depending on the paint, most paints I'll go about 1 turn. You can go 2, that's fine. Try not to go too much above 2, because then obviously you're going to put too much Cerakote on, and then it's going to run. As you see, not a single run. So that's it for the exhaust manifold. Now let's get on the rest of these parts. Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Now this is less than 24 hours later, and as you see, just like I told you, it's dry to the touch. I mean, you're good. You can handle it, you can do whatever you got to do. You can even mount it on real easy if you wanted to. But I would say don't start the tractor. Give it a couple days for this to fully cure to its hardened potential, and then you're good to go. But as you see, it finished, like I said, it comes out beautiful. I like the finish on that Glacier Silver. But let's run outside real fast. Let me show you the front of the 450 with the tires on. These, I'm going to go ahead and probably start priming up today. I got all the parts all ready to go. Everything is ready. I just got to shoot it. Luckily, I can do this inside here since it's like 20 degrees outside. It's warm as can be in my shop. I got it about probably 70. So I can go ahead and do all my priming in here. I got to go ahead and clean all these up, hang these parts now too. These will be ready to roll. I got a ton of parts ready to go. But let's walk out. Let me show you those rims. Alright, let me see if I can do this without unstrapping the whole cover. Yeah, I can. Alright, so that's how the rims came out. I think it looks really good now. Yeah, front end looks like $1,000,000. So, tires are back on, at least on the fronts. Now, I did change up the axle paint that I used. I will show you the paint in a second, what I used. I don't know if I can bring this up enough to show you. But I did strip those back down. Now they look perfect. That's the way I wanted them. I used that Krylon paint. That Krylon brush on. I wasn't really feeling that paint. It started to come out really thick, and once you put it on the first time, especially with a brush, let's just say the brush strokes, you couldn't get them to come out, and it would actually start smearing the paint to the point where it was, guess I'm not dragging. I mean, the paint was setting up. I didn't like it. So I went ahead and just went with the Rust-Oleum Gloss Black Farm Implement paint. I used this on there. I stripped those back down, back to the metal again. Shot them with primer. Gave it 2 coats of that Rust-Oleum, and finish was much better. The other paint was just too thick, and I was worried about it being too thick with those wheel clamps clamping over it. I didn't want to keep crushing that paint down to the point where I had to keep torquing the wheels to get them tight. So to me, that paint was too thick. This paint is a lot thinner. Figure it's only a coat of the rusty metal primer, 2 coats of that spray paint. It's not very thick at all. And then the fact of the hubs and everything, taping all those up, sitting my finger, taping all those areas up inside there. It's not going to have any paint on it, so you're not going to have a lot of buildup for clamping those wheels down. Much safer that way. Let's see. So that's what I have going on now. So today in the works is priming these parts, and then let me spin this, and then we're going to jump on this clutch pedal and go ahead and bore this out and sleeve this just like the other one. And once we get that done, it's really just a whole bunch of small parts here and there that we got to get wrapped up. Of course, I am selling steps still, right and left, so I did get another step done yesterday. This is actually going out to a gentleman who is, I think he said he's 79. This will make it a lot easier for him to get on his tractor, that's for sure. So I'm going to get working on putting in my medallion, grip tape, packaging this thing up, and getting this thing shipped out to him. So that way he'll have it hopefully before Christmas in case he wants to ride his tractor around. Other than that, guys, that's about it for this video right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to film probably priming this and everything. And that'll be a separate video. And then we're going to hopefully work on getting this 450 back on its wheels and ready to start, so I can at least move it out of the way. And I might go ahead and pull that cub in here and do that breakdown of that engine real fast on that cub. Do a rebuild on it, get her back up and running the way she's supposed to. Pop a snow plow on it and just have it ready in case we get any good snow. I get to play with it. And then once this one's done, we're going to bring that 2000 loader over here, and I'm going to go ahead and refinish that, paint all the parts, replace all the lines, and we're going to get that on this 450 gasser. So that's the plan. What am I doing after that? The cub, wrapping up a little bit on the diesel since that's sitting outside. It's kind of cold. Once I get all that done, I don't know. I guess I might start either on the 300 or on the other cubby. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. You guys will see. Anyway, make sure you hit that notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. And let's get this thing wrapped up so we can see this thing back with the sheet metal and looking all pretty. Alright guys, thanks for watching.